and welcome back to the CrochetCrowd.com. Today is a behind the scenes look of the Crochet Crowd. I've turned off the studio lights. It's just you, me, and all my fabulous little friends over here, and they just happen to be called yarn balls. I have more balls than you can ever imagine, because my yarn to me is not just a stash. People always call yarn stash, that yarn. I have so much yarn here that I swear to God I could probably insulate this house if I really needed to. Not a good idea, but it's a funny little thought. But I hate the word stash because it just means that I'm hoarding all this fabulous yarn. But in actual fact, what I'm trying to do is create a collection for myself so that when I'm looking at a pattern online, I can say, well, you know what? I found this yarn at a certain place and I can't get this yarn locally, so then I collect it. So it's kind of like I can go through my stash and say, okay, well, I like this color, and this color, and that color, and there's more yarn behind this camera, because it's like wearing a pair of shoes every day. It just doesn't happen. You have to have the right products for your work. So I have everything kind of separated out, and you're thinking to yourself, so I know what you're thinking right now. Gee, Mikey, that's a lot of balls. Oh, I don't want an outtake. I'm gonna keep that in because I'm making myself laugh. And you know what? Yes, I have a lot of balls. And that's because my yarn is my happiness. And there's a lot of people out there that collect a lot of yarn and their spouses or friends are saying, honey, you got way too much yarn. I have way too much yarn, but you know what? This is what makes me happy. This is what gives me the joy when I don't feel the joy is happening in my life. It's my yarn, and that is why I created the Crochet Crowd back in 2008, because I'm sharing my joy with hundreds of thousands of people online, because it just makes me happy, and I know that a lot of people find happiness by crocheting and knitting. And I just gotta take a quick time out because I'm getting a little more emotional than I really want to be for this particular video at this point. So while I'm all clamped up, your topic is, does Mikey have way too many balls? Talk amongst that about yourself. I just want to bring myself back into composure, because crochet to me is such an emotional thing for people. It is a way of healing. It is a way of self-discovery. It is a way of creativity. And for me, I think if I was to define my life right now in 2013, it is my way of living. It is my way of coping with this stressful society. And it's my way of sharing what is in my brain all through the creativity of expressing it through crochet. And that's one thing that I love about the Crochet Crowd, is that there's thousands of us that are reaching to crochet and knitting and any other fiber or creative outlet in order to feel the sense of joy that we have as our society gets faster and we need to bring ourselves to slow down in order to recoup and to refresh and to bring our minds back into balance. And that's, for me, the Crochet Crowd. So here's a little bit of organization that I like for myself. It may not work for you, but it works for me. Is that I organize by the brand. I don't organize by the color. And so what I have here is in the first row that you can't see off camera, that's all Red Heart Super Saver. So I can guarantee to myself that anything there is Red Heart Super Saver. There's one thing I like not to do in projects, is that I don't like to switch out brands. So if I'm making an Afghan, if I'm going to commit to Red Heart Super Saver, I'm going to say Red Heart Super Saver for the entire project. I don't like to mix and match my brands. So for example, this is all Red Heart with Love, and then we have more of it over here. It just spilled over, and then I got more fancier yarns as I work in way down the line, and then I get some clearance yarns and some actually really amazing yarn. It is a lot easier for me to say, okay, I have red, I know this is all with Love. I can pull out the greens, the purples, the pinks, and it's just a lot easier for me to say, well, instead of having this all being red of many different brands of yarn, I can just guarantee that that is the brand that I want in order to make the project, so I'm not intermixing my brands together within one project. So sometimes you can get some really amazing deals, and there's sometimes I buy yarn just because it's on sale or it's something that's really unique. Now I've been really getting into yarn bombing lately, and so you need those special little textures. You need something that is going to be totally amazing, but you also need your scrap yarns and other yarns in order to bring things together. So when I find deals like that, for example, is that it's amazing just to have it on stock. So I'm never going to be able to do an Afghan with this particular yarn here. This is the Celebration by Red Heart. But in actual fact, I can use it for other smaller projects around the house, or even doing some of my yarn bombing. What I like to do too is that I never really like to have balls that are like this. What a sloppy mess. This is when your balls become sloppy. What I like to do is I put it through my yarn winder, and then I can make little yarn cakes, so then I can turn this sloppy ball into something more easier in order for me to stack it in on my shelf, just like that. So turning the camera in the other direction, this is where the camera was, and I was facing the other direction. But in actual fact, this is the other side of the room, and this is my odds and sods of different interesting yarns that I use for a lot of the creativity for projects. Now, it's great to collect these odd yarn balls because they can actually provide a finishing look. So for example, I don't want to switch off my yarn for an Afghan, but the actual trim of it may be something more unique and something more fun in order to make it more exciting. I also keep all my yarn tools and etc. up here, stacked out of the way so that I don't pile any boxes on top of it. And you know what? It's just a really easy way to maintain it. And again, this has been separated by brand and not by color. And it just makes it easy for me to find in that sense. So here we are again, and the camera's been turned in the other direction. And again, it's my laundry room. My yarn studio here is my laundry room. You know what better place to put it? It's out of the way of the house. I did used to have it right in the middle as a showcase feature, but I find I have so much yarn that it becomes really taking over my space. So this is a great little room in order to keep all my yarn. I can do my laundry if I really have to. And you know what? It is just a wonderful little space in order to keep my yarn. And some people get all worried about the dust. And so some people have suggested that maybe putting a sheer curtains over the shelving to prevent the dust from settling on the balls. You know, sometimes my balls get dusty. It happens. I bang it off, and then I get hooking right on top of it. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Remember, yarn brings me happiness. It may bring you happiness as well. And I think when people are arguing with you that you have too much yarn, you have to really think about it. If it brings you happiness and it doesn't cause you any harm in any way, then what's the big deal? Until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the CrochetCrowd.com.